season. New show, new folks, new reasons. New level, so you know we going up. South with the old, so you know we cleaning. We gleaning, brand new story. Got a podcast, come talk with Tori. Got you fiending, new stories. New podcast, come and talk with Tori.
Hey y'all, what's up? So you want to start a podcast, right? Well, do like I did. Go to anchor.fm and start recording your very own podcast today. Not tomorrow. Don't delay. Start it today, y'all. And once you get on anchor.fm, you can chop it up, you can edit. There's some editing tools that you can use on there. You can even make some little snippets to promote your podcast. Go to anchor.fm and start your very own podcast. So one person out there love me? Come on, y'all. Show me some love. Show your girl some love. Tori Talks. And buy something on my Etsy shop. Tori Talks 9. Thank you. Hey y'all. Welcome back to Tori Talks. I have one of my friends, a special guest with me, Chef Kenneth Temple. He is an author, chopped champion, and a dynamic on-air food expert who is passionate about motivating others, myself included, to cook mouth-watering, flavorful food with everyday ingredients. He's been featured on USA Today Sports, US Weekly, Food Network, and has partnered with dozens of multinational brands. Hailing from New Orleans, Chef Kenneth's cooking style is inspired deeply by his Southern roots and the fusion of cultures that comprise traditional New Orleans cuisine. And thank you for keeping that short, simple, and sweet.
You got to have an elevator pitch with these bios. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
What's up, Tor?
What's going on?
Honey,
Long
bro,
time no hear from.
hey, bro, just out here, living. You
That's
dig? Living. You know what I'm saying?
busy. Not busy, but busy, busy.
I mean, everybody always, all right. You know the life of an entrepreneur. Everybody always talk about how busy people are.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I carve out time not to be busy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you got to rest, right? Like we come from a culture where it's everything's a grind, a hustle, and we be burnt out, and we wonder why other areas of our lives are suffering. Well, it's because your cup runneth empty. You need to
Yes.
pull
Slow
up,
down.
yeah, slow down, post up, work smarter, not hard.
Work. You know, I always my daddy used to always tell me that. Work smarter, not harder. I'm
Hmm.
working smarter these days.
Yeah, work smarter, not harder. I think I heard Myron Goldman say it one time. It's like just because you work hard don't mean you get paid more, right? We think about the people who work outside. That's hard labor. Construction, that's hard labor. But then we think about people who may be in something per se like tech, which is more mind muscle than actual muscle. Well, it's not hard work per se, and we also know how they pay people in the service industry versus people up top, so
Right.
you work smarter, not harder, so yeah, just about strategy.
That's right. So I read your bio for the people, but of course there's a couple of other things that was not mentioned there.
Hmm.
Uh, and I think one that's real relevant is like your social media posts.
Mm.
Like you always giving us some easy recipes on how to, well, not recipes per se, but like you'll chop it up real quickly and like bada,
Yeah.
bam, you know. So tell me a little bit about these easy recipes that you showcase on your social media.
Well, at Kenneth Temple underscore, on Instagram and Kenneth Temple everywhere, people. It's cooking for some reason has this big burden on people where it's so difficult they didn't learn properly. And small intro into a backstory, I've spoken with several women and several people over the last 14 years I've been a private chef, and I found like a lot of people in our generation, aunties and grandmas, didn't pass down the cooking knowledge, right? They told them stay out the kitchen, but then they tell you, learn to cook to get a man. But they kicked them out the kitchen. So it's kind of like counterproductive. So a lot of people are intimidated in the kitchen. So me being a chef, I just want to show you how simple it really is if you just know what you're doing. And half of the battle, know what you're doing, is just having a great teacher. And me cutting it up to make it look that simple is because it really is that simple. Um, as a lawyer, if you go into law unconfident, well, you're going to have a bad day. But if you go into the courtroom confidently, you're going to have a pretty good day. Not to
Yeah.
say which way it may be, the judgment may fall, but if you're confident in whatever you do, it comes a little bit more easy. So me being your teacher, kind of showing you like, oh, that do look easy. Like, I can do that. And he'd be like, yeah, you can. So go to
Yeah.
kennettemple.com and get the recipe and whip it up. Yeah.
And you also have a cookbook. I don't know. I know of one, but I
Uh-huh.
feel like they've written another one.
I
Um,
got a few ebooks floating around. Yeah, I got Southern Creole. Yeah, that's my print. You can hold it in your hand book. But then I have a few other ebooks. Sweet Treat ebooks, which is like about 12 dessert recipes, and then I threw in like 3 extra savory dishes. I have a healthy cookbook, which is called the 21 Day Meal Prep Challenge, which basically just gives you a list of fire ingredients that's nutritionist, dietitian approved, and chef tested. And so you can use those. And these was like actually recipes I used when I had my meal prep service in New Orleans when I was doing meal preps.
okay.
So yeah, I got a few. I got a holiday ebook with my wife. She wants to make it print, but I would have to get those things formatted like yesterday in order to get the book ready for the holiday season. So yeah, got a few things out there. And
So, about the ebooks, we find this on your website, right?
yep. KennethTemple.com. You can just go ahead on and hit it, and you'll see all the ebooks that I have up there. Yeah.
So, how did you get into cooking and being a chef? How did that story come about?
Well, I kind of fell into it. Nowadays with Chop Junior and Master Chef Junior, people will look at you at this point in your life and they think this was you, like you was in the kitchen all day. But I was a regular kid. My first introduction to the kitchen was helping my dad crack eggs. My dad used to bake at home from scratch, and he would sit me on the counter and show me how to crack an egg. And that was about my intro to the kitchen. So in my cookbook, I tell my story about my introduction to the kitchen all the way into becoming a private chef. And so when I was about 8, I rented an omelet cookbook from the school library. They always tell you go to the library, pick a book. I found the omelet book, eggs, yet again.
So kids were about Power Rangers and
Yeah, yeah.
Barb, and you
I
pick up
wasn't. I pick up an omelet cookbook. You got to eat. You know what I mean? In order to be a Power Ranger, you got to have some energy. You know what I'm saying? So you got to eat in order to hiya and kick and Mighty Morph and all that, right? So, but it was really simple. It was like 3 eggs, salt, pepper, cook it. So it's really, really something easy. I've always been tall, so I can reach the skillet and all of that. And so I used to make omelets, but that was about the extent. And French toast. That was my and peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That was about my extent of my culinary career. And then upon graduating from high school, they asked you the question. Graduation season just ended.
grow up. What you
What you
gonna be?
gonna do now? Right. What you gonna do next after you graduate? And I did not have an answer. And so March of my senior year, I was like, well, Nickel State came to my school and they had a brochure, and I was like, cooking seems cool. Sure. And I had a cousin playing football down there, and so I know I could see the campus and really get a real vibe of what it really was. Sometimes you do college tours and you see what they want you, but you don't get to interact with the students who every day on it. So I was like, man, it's only 45 minutes from the city. If I ever get homesick, I can always just pull up home and drive back to school. So I ended up going to Nickel State because I knew I couldn't go to Delgado for culinary arts because I would have just played because I was home.
Because you
So
was at home.
yeah, I know me. You got to know thyself. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna play. So when I got into cooking, when I actually got into the first kitchen job, shout out to Cafe Roma, I was started off as a delivery driver. So being a delivery driver, that was my first time in like a professional kitchen and seeing just just a normal day grind of a kitchen. This wasn't like working at Emerald's or nothing, but it's still in a kitchen environment. And that's where I learned how to sear fish, get food pretty brown, how to do the chef flip, how to make sauces, like understanding yeast ingredients with pastas. So I learned that side of the business. And then once I got into the actual curriculum of culinary arts, the first thing I ever made, I love telling this story. The first thing I ever made was boiled shrimp remoulade. I
Okay.
never boiled shrimp a day in my life, and I damn sure didn't know what a remoulade was. And I silenced the class, thinking, damn, I just messed up. Like the dish trash. And everybody gave it raving reviews. And that's when I learned that when your food is good, you can silence the audience. And so my second semester is where they kind of teach you sauces, stocks, soups, and all of these different things. And the teacher calls everybody over individually, but like, Tori, come here, and he lets you know whether you should continue to pursue or not pursue. And after that summer, it was right, well, that transition after that year was right after Katrina. So I had just
Okay.
finished working at a country club in Destrehan, helping them bring the country club back to life after Katrina. So I learned some things, you know what I mean? So I got more kitchen experience. And so the teacher called me over, and it was like the longest pause of my life. And it was like, Kenneth, well, hey, bro, like spit that out, like. And he was like, it probably was only like a second, right? But the intensity to see if somebody's saying you on the right track or not is like, time slows down, and it's like there's no secret you should be in the kitchen pursuing it. And so, okay, with a few validations from teachers and some things, I was like, all right, let's take this real serious. And then from that point, I locked in, and as they can say, the rest is history. But I knew upon graduating, um, I wanted to be a private chef before it was cool. And, everybody wants to work at restaurants. They want to travel the world. I was just like, yo, wherever the Lord gonna send me, that's what we're gonna get done. You heard me? And
Yeah.
14 years later, I appreciate that, Pat. Thank you, Father. I appreciate that, Pat. You heard me? What we've been able to do. So that's kind of how I got into cooking on a whim. It was kind of like, it seems cool, let's do it, and it just felt natural when I was in the kitchen.
That's a really good story. I didn't know, you know, sorry, I'm outside. I didn't know the depths of the story, but that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's one of those things, some people dream all their lives of being these things, and I just was kind of like, because my goal was always to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I guess that's the other thing, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, but I didn't know what was the skill
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be an
But
entrepreneur.
a lot of times, or a lot of times, we we miss out on a lot of opportunities because we don't try our hand at things. Like we don't, like we just so comfortable in what we're already doing, and we
Hmm.
just live our life based upon that. We don't, really try, and it might not be necessarily something new, but
Hmm.
we don't try to see what we can and what we can't do.
Do you
Like
know what
me,
that is?
fear of the unknown, really.
Mm. Mm. Fear,
But
fear is
God
a
has not given
paralyzer.
us a spirit of fear,
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead. I got one for you. I know we was talking. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. I got one for you.
but the power
Yeah,
is mine.
yeah, people. Where I'm at in my life, I know your three L's. I know your three L's of the show, and where I'm at in my life, um, faith over fear, right? Faith over fear. We just came out of a pandemic and all this extra stuff, right? And I remember going on my Instagram stories, and this is gonna tie into what I'm saying. I remember going on my Instagram stories, and I was telling everybody we need to take a placebo, that COVID was gonna go away and everything was gonna be good. And now people thinking I'm crazy, but if you understand what the placebo effect is, the placebo effect means that you've been given something that you think is going to work, and it tells your body begins to react as if it was naturally working. So I'm saying, well, instead of us all having the spirit of fear, we need to have a spirit of faith that everything is going to work out. Now I'm on outside looking in because everybody think I'm crazy, but I understand how
Yeah.
the creator gives his creations the same creative opportunity to be that powerful. So when you don't try new things, it's because your fear, and that fear will paralyze you, and fate propels you.
Yeah.
So I'm not scared to try something because it's never a loss. It's never a loss. It's a lesson. And most
Y-
of us are scared to learn those lessons because we're so comfortable.
Yeah. Got to
Yeah,
get out of comfortability. Got to get
yeah,
out of it. I
yeah,
mean, sometimes,
yeah.
so,
And I'm
but,
comfortable in learning new things.
okay, that's a good comfortability though.
Yeah, I'm comfortable in learning new things because I love the knowledge, I love the wisdom, I love the understanding. So if you tell me something about cooking that I think I know, but it contradicts, I'm going to go and do the research to understand it. And that
Yeah.
understanding gives me expertise because now I know both sides of the tape and I
Mm.
can give you a clear,
I'm
concise
gonna go back to when you said about you learned to flip, right?
chef lip. Uh huh.
I still struggle with that. I ain't lying to you.
It's in the
But
elbows.
but try it.
It's in the elbows.
It's in the so it's not your wrist.
Nope. It ain't got nothing to do with the flick of your wrist.
But
It's in
how
your, it's in
elbow?
your, look, this motion, right? Think about a train, right? Like, you know how a train goes like this?
Uh-huh.
It's just in your elbow. It's just
Oh,
here. The gravity going to do the rest. You just doing this. The skillet too heavy. You won't be able to really do it, but your elbow, yeah,
that's why I can't flip it. The skillet be too heavy.
yeah.
Okay.
But you throw it from your elbow. Yeah. Now, when I do private dinners and I'm showing off, I'll take a 12-inch cast iron skillet, 15-inch cast iron skillet, and I'll do the chef flip, and everybody be like, "Yo," be like, "Hey, it's just, it ain't my wrist, like it's in my elbows." Yeah. I learned that as a delivery driver, y'all. So, and that's before I got into the kitchen. So that's what I mean by comfortable with learning something new. I wasn't scared that I was gonna get pasta sauce everywhere.
Don't forget to check out KennethTemple.com for the recipes, y'all. Vegan recipes, seafood recipes. He have it broken up by seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall, dessert. KennethTemple.com.
You know
Okay.
why? Because we had more pasta, and we had more sauce, we had more chicken. We can do this again.
Yeah.
So I removed that boundary of fear and just go for it.
Just go for it.
Just go for it.
And I also want to go back a little bit. You said you want to be an entrepreneur. And
Yes.
so with that, was being a private chef the only way in cooking that you could be an entrepreneur, or is that the way that you wanted to advance your career in cooking?
Obviously with cooking, you can go restaurants, you can go food truck, you can work for Sodexo, which is the people who ships all the food. You can write for ServSafe, which is the people who write all of the bacterial food safety laws. You can do all of those things. But being an entrepreneur, I knew it gave as a private chef, I knew it gave me freedom. I know I didn't have to work a normal 9 to 5 schedule. I knew I can work with some people with some money, and working with people with money will increase my bankroll because I'm working with people who already had a nice capital. Now, just for context, when I graduated in 2008, I was only making $9 an hour on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Not $9 an hour on the line didn't pay for much back then. It's like no pay for much right
Not
now. Not to mention that was the after the crash of 2008 recession. So I knew I needed to be somewhere where I can grow and work with people who was of influence because people of influence know other people of influence, which can help my influence because I'm in my network. So I saw that as that opportunity to grow, to see the world. And the blessing with me being a private chef, I thought I was gonna have to move to Los Angeles because that's where all the celebrities are. But I was
right.
so blessed to be able to do it all in New Orleans, all in that little big city, and create the brand that I have
The city that
created for
we
myself. You know what I'm saying?
love.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was the best path of least resistance. Now, it was a lot more work than being backed by somebody, but when I got my first opportunity from my first NBA player, it was like, whoa, okay, it's here.
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna go and be like, oh, I'm Kenneth Temple, I'm a chef. Nah, I was like, okay, you have things that come, but you have to be ready too, right? Most of us don't get the things we want because we're not doing the background work of getting prepared for it. So here's a fun story about what I mean. So I love telling the story. So I spazzed out one day on the line at Zia's, like spazzed out. Like I was talking like I'm bigger than this place, I'm better than this. Da 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 da. I spazzed out because I was the only one there that was a culinary arts student,
Okay.
and everybody else was comfortable with where they was on the line. But I
Yeah.
knew just doing hot apps and spinach dips and all of those things wasn't satisfying. Like it was cool to be, but it wasn't satisfying. So I spazzed out. I got sent. I got sent to the walk-in cooler. Now let's say sent. This is supposed to be a spiritual show, so y'all should understand what I mean. I got sent. Go in that walk-in cooler, and I literally cooled off, said me a little prayer, checked myself, apologize. Once I did that, I started to ask, what is it, Father, you want me to understand why I'm here? Most of us get in situations and we never ask, what is the understanding? Because life is full of prerequisites. Things you do in middle school, you apply in high school, college, life, professional, blah, 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 right? So I got that, and that was just to learn the system, right? Zia's wasn't more for my creativity, it was more for me to understand how a system works, and no matter who's plugged into that system, the train can still run. So after I spazzed out, I got a promotion. Now I got promoted to work in the back of the line where I was able to make $15 an hour now. But now I was on my own cooking the grits. Now, some of y'all may be from New Orleans, some of y'all may not be hearing it, but if you know about Zia's corn grits,
The
you
best.
know. You know what I'm saying? So I was the guy in charge of making that big batch. So I'm talking big batch of everything, right? But that prepared me to be a private chef. So now
Okay.
I'm on my own cooking all this food by myself for my client. That transitioned me. So then when the opportunity came, I was ready.
He was ready.
I couldn't get it before I was ready because I didn't do the background work, you know what I mean? Or the inner work too, right? And so once it happened, I was like, okay, boom, we need to have a company name. We need to get an LLC. So that's when Savory LLC was formed when I got my first client. Shout out to Julian Wright, first round draft pick for the New Orleans Hornets
Shout
at the
out.
time. Back then, you heard me. So yeah.
That's that's pretty good. But you're right. Like, we shouldn't look at when we're in, I don't want to say low places, but when we're in a place that we don't necessarily want to be, or things that we think are little or smaller than
Hmm.
where we should be. Like, we should say, like you said, God, what do you want me to learn from this? What are you
Hmm.
trying to show me? And be open to actually receive what God
Yes.
has for us in that moment. Yeah, in that
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And here's how I can tie it back in, right? While I'm at that learning curve, which we call the lower state, while I'm at the learning curve, I have to understand the system. So now, okay, you taught me to understand the system. Now I'm in the back by myself. The chef's not over me, the manager's not over me, but I have to have a system in order to do and complete my assignments on time.
Yeah.
Got it. Now I got the system. Now I can be a better organizer, a better organizer. I could be a better leader, better teammate, blah, 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 blah. Like it all builds upon each other, but we want the glory. We don't want the story.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? And the
Never.
story, yeah, the story gets you the glory, right? You know what I mean? Like when you became a lawyer, people didn't see you burning the midnight candles all night getting ready for the ball. They just see, oh, she an Esquire now. But
They
you
see
gotta
the tax.
yeah, you gotta come back to when I wasn't sure I was gonna be an Esquire because you know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. We gotta go through that learning curve in order to be prepared.
Wow, this is good.
Yeah. I told you I had one for you when before
You
you got
did.
on. That's all.
I wasn't expecting it. And y'all, I am so grateful for. Wait, before I get into that. So in my phone, for some reason, I have you as Chef KC, but I don't
Mm.
know why. Do you know why I have KC?
That was my first branding. Chef
Okay.
KC. Yeah. Chef
Okay.
KC. Yeah, KC was what I used to go by branding wise, but then I took that Chef KC because KC is a family name. So I wanted to
Oh,
be, intimate family style. But then I took that away after looking at the Emeralds, Thomas Keller's. Um, they wasn't going by a nickname. They wasn't even going by chef. They was going by
okay.
their name.
Well,
So I
yeah.
don't like going by Chef Kenneth Temple. I like just going by Kenneth Temple. Because when you say Emerald, you don't have to say Chef Emerald. You already know
Yeah.
Emerald.
Emerald.
You don't have to say Chef Bobby Flay. When you say Bobby Flay, you know
Yeah.
Emerald.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's how it happened. And that's how far back we go, right? With the
Yeah. But I'm like, why do I even have this? Got you. Got you.
Because you're part of the family, so you can call me Casey. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, check out my boy Kenneth. He have his own website. Look at Auntie Patty. He be cooking for all these celebrities. TT Toya. Check him out. KennethTemple.com. Okay, so what I was about to say, I'm just so grateful because you stuck with me today. I had to
Yeah.
get my coffee, and Lord knows I've been trying to lay off of this Starbucks, but I had to get my treat for the week.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my treat, and Starbucks disappointed me today, y'all. And but Kenneth, he stuck by me and was like, "I'm still free. I'm waiting."
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
let's
We made a commitment. Life happens.
yeah.
I just had this talk yesterday with my girl. Um, I when you have a goal, I see the goal, but there's this stuff that happens in the middle that you can't really plan for. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I made sure wasn't so tight in my schedule. It's like, nah, you got to find me tomorrow. Like, we picked the perfect day. Nobody's looking for me. Nobody's looking for you at this moment. So, yeah, we got to rock and roll.
Nobody looking for me at all today,
Yeah,
at all.
yeah,
But
yeah.
before I let you go, I do have a question, and you could think about it for a minute
I have an answer.
and give us, your best answer. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So my question for you is, what do you think are the three words that best describe you now?
Now, dependable, humorous. I'm going to go with wise.
Okay.
I'm going to go with wise
So you
because
still
I love wisdom. I love wisdom. So
yeah.
so
Okay.
wisdom is me. So, and when I make my mistakes, wisdom corrects me. So yeah, I love being dependable because if you ask me to do something, I want you to know you can count on me. Humorous, hey, laughter's good for the spirit. And wisdom, we're gonna make the right choices over the wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Didn't take too long.
And tell the people one more time where we can find you, your website and your social media.
I feel like Tori cutting us short. I know she won't talk to me more, y'all. She cutting us short. But you can find me at Kenneth Temple everywhere.
Mhm.
Every single LinkedIn, TikTok, my website, my blog where I share recipes that we was talking about, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I don't have a Twitch. So yeah.
Twitch is a website. What's that?
Twitch is a streaming platform for gamers, and sometimes
Oh,
chefs can use it to also stream their cooking and stuff like
okay.
that too.
I didn't know that.
All these tools that they
Yeah,
have these days.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot. It's a lot.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And um the burnout of trying to be omnipresent with your brand is you just have to have a system. There go that word again in place to hit all of those. Pinterest too. Yeah, I'm on Pinterest too. So
Okay.
I'm a little bit all over y'all, but you can find me.
And so now your goal, you said you can't get it for this holiday season, but your goal is to now get ready for next holiday season.
Yeah, make that book a printout. The thing with cookbooks is people love to hold them. You know what I mean? Like an ebook is convenient, but people love to hold cookbooks.
Yeah.
And it's just about formatting it, seeing what the cost is, and then what the price point is. Because the reason we did the ebook was because it was interactive. We gave you a 7-page, well, not a 7-page, a 7-day checkpoint. So while you cooking these spreads for celebrations, holidays or whatever, you kind of understand how to prep from a chef perspective or how to prep. So by the time it's time to bring the turkey and all the stuffing on the table, the only thing you're doing is reheating and then taking the turkey out the oven or something like that. Because a lot of people get frantic yet again in the kitchen. This shows you how to check it, right? Like so you can check, buy it on day one, pick it up on day three, start making your sweets, because all right, this is gonna be fun. So cakes can stay fresh longer than turkey. So make your desserts early, then
Mm-hmm.
make your sides, then make your turkeys or whatever on the day of. So by the time the turkey finish, you just throw everything else to reheat it. Because we all have been to dinner where one thing was hot and the other thing was cold, and you just gonna bow your head and say, mmm, mmm. And that yeah, kind of gave that strategy so that didn't have to happen at our dinner tables when we were breaking bread.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna be intentional this time, though. I'm going to get in the kitchen
Come on.
and get it together and start making some real meals and not just those easy meals,
Ooh,
make something, make it look like it's an actual meal and not just
okay.
some pasta and sauce on top.
But we can start with that. So let me hold you accountable. So what's the first thing you want to cook?
I don't know.
Keep it simple.
So so let me tell you this. So I am trying on this flexitarian diet. Um So flexible, meaning I don't want to not cancel out meat, but I want to eat less meat than what I already eat. Like I eat meat every day. So if
Okay.
I can do meat 4 times a week and then
Hmm.
3 days I don't, or vice versa, then that's what I mean by flexitarian. So I would
Okay.
really appreciate something that doesn't have meat. So that, because I really don't know how to cook those things. I'm saying I don't know how to cook those things, but I'm sure I do. But I'd rather be confident in making them taste good
Hmm.
so that
So
I can really eat those things.
so you want to do like a stewed okra and tomatoes? Something
Yeah,
that simple? I want you to go to kennetemple.com and look up my stewed okra and tomato recipe. Now, I don't know if you're gonna have the savory seasoning, but you could always pick up your savory seasoning online too. That's the number one low sodium Cajun seasoning on the market,
okay,
by the way. Um, and try that. Try that recipe. See how
okay,
simple it is to whip that up. And then when you want to go do your meat, just type in whatever type of meat you're looking for. I have a white wine chicken pasta that's going crazy right now. Um, so try
okay.
those two.
I
Start with
will.
the stew, and then I want you to hashtag me on Instagram. You can share it to your story. Let's
Yes.
eat. L E
Let's
Z eat. And I want to
Ellie.
see it. Yeah,
Okay.
I want to see it. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to give you 2 weeks. That's
Well,
enough grace time.
no. Can't give me 2 weeks because I'm staying in a hotel that don't have a kitchen, so you can't hold me to 2 weeks.
3 weeks.
Maybe three. Yeah, I should have a kitchen in 3
3
weeks.
weeks. Three
Yeah,
weeks.
I should have a kitchen in 3 weeks.
I will give you to the end of June
Okay.
to see what you're working with. I'll give you to the end of June. And then look, you might start enjoying cooking more. And so the next time you book your hotels where you're at, you make sure you got a little kitchenette set
Well,
just in case
I
you want.
tried. This town didn't have any.
Yeah, yeah.
None.
Well, that's why I like Airbnb. So,
But that's true.
yeah, that's why I like Airbnbs because then I can still get down, have that still home feel too. You know what I mean? And be able to cook.
Okay. Well,
All
thank
right. So I will give y'all, I don't know when this airing, but Tori gonna cook my stewed okra and tomatoes recipe by the end of June.
That's right. I sure will.
And
Now
then we got a tasty drink for you to wash it down with too.
on KennethTemple.com.
Oh yeah, yeah, we got a little bit of everything over there. I'm from, you know where we from, so we gotta have a little libation. You gotta have a little
Yes.
libations in there. Yes, but thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure talking. I feel like 30 minutes isn't enough for us to really get down to the meat
Well,
and
we'll have you
potatoes of
back.
it.
I'll have you back. I
Oh,
said, will. I'll have you back.
I'd love to. Then we go a little
Talk
bit deeper.
about the other topic that I had, but yeah, we'll talk about that one next time.
Okay, good.
And maybe your wife could come on too.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe, maybe.
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. There's gonna be a lot of eye rolling if she in here. Yeah, 'cause
All right, y'all. See y'all later. Bye.